Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone's keeping safe and well. Before we begin with this evening's webinar session, if anybody's having any trouble viewing this live stream, I know some of you were waiting before we actually began with this webinar session. But in that regard, I hope if there are any sort of issues on your end, if you just give your browser page a quick refresh, hopefully everything should all be working for you. That's usually what happens with technologies. Just switch it off, turn it back on again. It's one of those kind of things as well. For those of you who can hear and see me clearly, that's great news. What I recommend, if you haven't yet done so, is it would be great if you could just say a quick hello, give a quick introduction, and just let us know where you're tuning in from. You can kind of see maybe a few messages that have scrolled up on the bottom right of your screen. You would have seen kind of a live chat functionality. Now, in order to participate in the live chat, you will just need to sign into your YouTube account. I believe the sign in button is on the top right of your screen, and then you can participate in throughout the course of this webinar session. So feel free to kind of make the most of that during our time with this webinar session as well. And also feel free to grab yourself a pen and paper, or if you're a little bit like me and hardly use pen and paper nowadays, feel free to kind of jot down any notes on something like your smartphone or a tablet or whatever else you've got nearby you as well. Okay, so for those of you who might have had any sort of difficulty viewing this webinar stream, I hope everything's okay for you now. So without further ado, welcome to this Google Digital Garage webinar session, all about how you can get to your business visible on Google, which is delivered in partnership today with Irish Black Owned. Now, my name is Rikesh, and I'm going to be your webinar host throughout the course of this session, which is going to last for approximately 1 hour. Now, a little bit about me. I am a trainer for Google's digital skills program, Google Digital Garage. I'm also a lawyer turned digital marketer. Now, I'll let you kind of work that one out, how that career change happened. But what I now do is that I work with businesses in the legal industry and help them to either create and or grow their online presence in order to attract clients from the online space as well, and to kind of help them to grow. And one of the means that I use to help them to grow is making sure that their business is as visible as possible on Google, which is just coincidentally the topic of conversation throughout the course of today. So that's a little bit about me. I'd also like to introduce at this stage my colleague who's going to be assisting me throughout the course of this webinar session, and that is the wonderful Emma. So Emma is going to be our chat moderator. So for those kind of tuning in a couple of minutes into this session, you might have kind of missed the beginning part where I mentioned that there's a live chat facility throughout the course of this webinar session. So if you have a look in the bottom right of your screen, you might have seen a few kind of messages kind of scroll by. So feel free to kind of participate in that. Just let us know where you're tuning in from. Just say a friendly hello or hi. And this is your opportunity to actually answer questions, because there will be some questions that will be kind of thrown out to you, and I kind of love to hear your thoughts throughout the course of this webinar session. Plus, this is also your opportunity to ask me questions as we go along the course of this webinar session. Now, I can't promise I'll have all the answers, but what I will do is, if I don't know the answer, I'll either kind of I'll probably have something, or might have something that I can sort of draw upon in my own experience, and kind of impart some of that to you. But if I don't have any idea, worst case I can say to you is I don't know the answer. You may need to Google it, ironically. But feel free to ask your questions away throughout the course of this session, because I always say during these kind of virtual webinar sessions that we kind of run, if you're thinking of a question, chances are somebody else who's tuning in might be thinking of the same or similar question. So if somebody asks a question, it might benefit more than just you who's tuning into this live stream as well. Now, we are excited to be delivering this webinar in partnership with Irish Black Owned today, and we welcome all the guests that they've invited to join us for this Google Digital Garage training. I'll now read out a short introduction on behalf of Irish Black Owned before we start. So Irish Black Owned is a Black-owned organisation that aims to train, empower and connect Black-owned businesses in Ireland to become lucrative, scalable, mainstream businesses, contributing to the Irish economy and owning assets. If you're interested in knowing more, you can send an email to info@irishblackowned.com. Now, what I want to let you know as well is this is this is the first in the series of webinar sessions that we are running in partnership with Irish Black Owned. So the second webinar session that we are going to be running is going to be happening a week from today and at the same time. So it's going to be happening on Monday the 30th of November at 5 p.m. till 6 p.m. And that's going to be on the topic of how to set up an online shop. So if you have a look down below me, there's kind of a video description box. And it's got kind of a couple of little paragraphs. Within the contents of one of the paragraphs, you will see that there is a website link which allows you to kind of book yourself onto that webinar session for next Monday. So feel free to kind of do that. Just in the same way that this webinar session is available to you at no charge, that webinar session is exactly the same as well. Now, whilst you are having a look at the video description and clicking on the link and booking yourself onto that webinar session, have a look at the Google Digital Garage website as well, which the link is in the video description as well, and specifically the webinars page. You'll actually be able to have a look at some of the other fantastic Google Digital Garage webinars that we run, and they're kind of based on all of a variety of topics. And once again, they are available for you to book and to attend at no charge as well. So the only commitment on your end is essentially probably a little bit of time commitment, just to make sure that you tune in on the right date and at the right time using the YouTube link that gets sent to you. Now, when you are visiting the Google Digital Garage website, you'll also see that there's an extra there's another tab along the top which says online courses. Now, you can have a look at that because there's some great online courses which again are available to you at no charge, which aim to kind of supplement the learning that is done on these types of webinar sessions, so you can build on kind of some of the work that we're going to be kind of going throughout the course of this session. And I kind of want to sort of point your focus at one online course in particular, because this is a course that I've been through myself, Emma's been through herself, and plenty of other people have been through, and they found it really valuable. And it's a course called The Fundamentals of Digital Marketing. Now, the reason why I recommend that course is because that just happens to be the first course that will appear on the online courses section. But it gives you that holistic overview and grounding as to how the world of digital marketing works, i.e. how to market your products and or services, market your business in general in an online setting. So it kind of gives you that full rounded opinion where we kind of talk about elements of social media, elements of how to get your business visible on Google, which we're going to be discussing today, as well as other kind of areas such as kind of analyzing and interpreting various data and using that going forward within the confines of your marketing strategy as well. And as an added bonus, once you have completed this this course, which is available at no charge, you'll also receive a certificate at the end of that to acknowledge that you've completed this course. Now, this is great to get a certificate at no charge, because then you can actually pop this certificate and make a note of it on places such as a CV or a LinkedIn profile, especially if you're working in an industry which might kind of require you to have some level of kind of digital or marketing type of knowledge, and it's always great to kind of always learn new things as well. So feel free to kind of check that out when you do get a moment. But without further ado, what we're going to be looking at now is we're going to have a look at what we're going to be covering throughout the course of this webinar session, which is all about how you can get your business visible on Google. So we're first of all going to be looking at and understanding more than anything else how our customers find our business. Because that's kind of the foundational point. Once we know how they find us, we know how we can make that experience better and get more of those people looking for our business. We'll then move on to looking at how we can actually build our presence as a business on the likes of Google Search and Google Maps, which kind of goes hand in hand, essentially. So we'll have a look at the areas on Google that we can be found. And then we'll finish off by looking at some ways in which you can improve your visibility and optimize your visibility on Google as a business as well. Now, before we actually go into looking at how our customers find us, I want to kind of draw your attention to these figures that you can see on screen here. And one of them is that you can see that 3 out of 4 customers use a search engine to find a business. Now, you might be thinking, well, Rikesh, that kind of makes sense. And you're right, it makes sense that 3 out of 4 of us are using search engines like a Google or a Bing, whichever it might be, to find businesses out there. And that's important to note, because we are obviously discussing today about how to make your business more visible on Google, which is a search engine as well. So kind of the figures kind of back up what we're going to be kind of discussing today. And you can see that over 80% of smartphone users are actually using their smartphones to conduct searches for local businesses. And this figure was accurate as of 2018, but I'm sure that figure might have probably risen by now as well, because I guess every year more and more people are getting smartphones. I know my granddad, we've recently given him a hand-me-down phone, and we're slowly kind of teaching him how to use WhatsApp. He's already kind of now mastered how to use a tablet just to do a bit of web browsing and have a look at YouTube videos and things like that. But we're now teaching him how to use WhatsApp. So that's great to kind of know. So he's kind of got access to that facility as well. But from kind of a business point of view, we're using our smartphones because we have them in our pockets. When we're out and about, or when we were kind of a lot more out and about, we were kind of using our smartphones to find businesses when we're not necessarily at home as well. So with that in mind, let's actually have a look at how our customers find us. So what I want you to do is, if you have your smartphone to hand or nearby, which I'm sure the vast majority of you do, if you're anything like me, you probably always have it within arm's reach of you. Feel free to grab it right now. And what I'd love for you to do is just get onto kind of any search engine that you wish to jump onto. And I want you to kind of get into the mindset and think, right, well, today's Monday evening, and I've had a long day at work. I don't really fancy cooking anything for dinner. So with that in mind, I think I'm just going to order some pizza, either for delivery or for takeaway. So what do you do? What do you type in, or do you type as well? So I want you to kind of search for pizza as if you're going to order this evening. Some of you may be thinking, oh, that's a good idea, Rakesh. I might just get a takeout this evening. If you're going to do that, feel free to do that as well. But what I want you to do is kind of search for as if you're going to be ordering pizza this evening. Now, what I want you to think about whilst you're kind of doing that is, I want you to think about kind of, and have a look through all the different businesses that appear to you on that page once you've kind of hit that search button. And I want you to make a decision as to which pizza place that you would order from, if you were going to order from. And just think in your mind why you would or why you will choose that particular pizza place to order from. And I'd love for you to kind of just think about kind of the questions on screen here is, how did you actually search online in general? Did some of you type in literally what was on screen there? I didn't say to type in specifically word for word pizza near me. You could have typed in pizza in Dublin, for example. I know many of you are tuning in from Dublin or from Kildare. Some of you may have even used that microphone button, which is if you've used Google, there's kind of a microphone button next to the search box, and you might have just been able to just speak, saying pizza near me, for example, as well. Now, what I want you to think about also, because I asked you to have a look at which pizza business you would likely order from. Now, I'm sure you've all kind of got one in mind, or some of you are already kind of scanning the menus of them already. But what kind of factors come into play into your mind? I'd love to kind of hear from you in the live chat box. So feel free to kind of pop your comments into the live chat. What kind of draws your attention to certain business listings that actually appeared up for you? So one thing that kind of always attracts me when I'm kind of looking for certain businesses is I always get drawn to colors. So for me, I get drawn easily to stars. So I could see the star rating of a particular business. That draws me in first and foremost. And then the next thing that kind of draws me in is kind of the number of reviews, because that's usually beside the star rating. But what other kind of factors come into your kind of decision-making process there? when you're deciding which type of business to go for. So feel free to kind of pop this into the live chat as we go along. I mean, another thing that could kind of come into your thinking, I guess, with the times that we're currently living through is how far away is this particular business? So if I'm going to order a takeaway, I don't want to be driving too far out to pick it up. And if I'm ordering for delivery, I don't want it to be on the other side of town, because it's going to take me a long time to actually to receive my delivery as well. So there's quite a few factors, and people are drawn to different things. I always sort of find when it comes to search as well. So Mercy's written in the live chat, customer reviews. Yeah, that's always a big one. KK247 said habits. Reputation, so reviews, yeah, that's the first thing that kind of springs to mind. Reviews from Abiola. Victoria said reviews as well. Our very own Emma said definitely reviews as well. Hope, reviews. Images, yes, KK247 says images. Precious has said location and price. Of course it is, yeah. I think that's a big thing when it comes to business. You want to make sure that it's within your price range as well when it comes to any sort of business as well. We've got Majda, reviews and comments. Yeah, it's important to kind of vet them more than anything. Toby said star rating and reviews. Yep. So kind of looking at the same sort of stuff that I look for as well. And we've got Bree, so reviews, prices, images, delivery price as well. It's important to kind of understand, because a lot of this information, even things such as delivery prices, can be information which can be found on a business listing as well. It's not a case of that you have to click into the website and then find out the delivery price. A lot of them can also be listed within the business listing as well. So Tobias, listing order. Yeah, so if you've got a pizza business that appears towards the top of the pages, that might attract your attention because you want to pick somewhere quite easy and quick, and you don't want to be messing around scrolling about. Grace, reviews and images. Yeah. Majda, delivery times, and Beckley, star rating, location. Yeah, so everybody's kind of different, but at the same time we're all kind of still drawn to some level of kind of credibility, and especially when it comes to reviews, we're all drawn to reviews a lot of the time because have you heard of that phrase before? People buy from people. So anytime you may be buying something off an Amazon or an eBay, we kind of scan through the reviews and the feedback to see what it's like, to see what other humans have enjoyed about a particular product or what they've not liked as well. So that's something to bear in mind. Now you might be thinking, well, Rikesh, that's all good and well. It's a nice little fun thing to do, to kind of pretend that I'm going to be ordering pizza this evening, even though I've already made my dinner. But the wider question is, well, why do we do this throughout the course of this session? Well, what we've all just gone on is we've all just gone on a customer online search journey. Now, we all searched, we all jumped onto a Google or another search engine. We typed in pizza near me, pizza in Dublin, wherever it might be. Then we went to the next part of the process, which was to make a decision as to which business we were going to pick out of kind of the order and look into them a little bit further. And we just discussed all of these different factors that kind of come into play, such as star rating, reviews, images, etc. And then our next port of call would have been at the end of the journey, which is to engage and interact with that particular business. So it would have been to either jump onto their website and place a pizza order, or it would have been to click on the telephone number and ring them and place an order that way, for example, as well. So the online customer search journey, which we've just been on, is the same customer online search journey that your customers go on as well. So now that we know this information, we can actually reverse engineer it and make improvements to it from our end to make this journey even more slicker as well. So that kind of raises the question, well, why is search important? Well, we kind of just looked at the online search, customer online search journey, and search is the beginning point. It's the foundational point. We search, 3 out of 4 of us use search engines to look for businesses. So it's important to kind of understand that search is kind of paramount, it's foundational point. Now, I'm sure some of you out there probably are running your businesses maybe exclusively on off a Facebook page or an Instagram page, for example. But with search engines, as you can kind of see by the figures, 3 out of 4 of us are using search engines to look for businesses. So it's a figure which can't necessarily be ignored. So it's just another avenue to add, along with being found on places such as your social media platforms as well. So when it comes to search, have you ever heard of this kind of old age concept that if you build it, they will come? When it comes to the internet and the online space, it doesn't really ring true. It's more of a case of you actively need to be found online. So it's kind of the opposite way around there. Now, I just want to show you a short video just to kind of highlight how Google search works in a little bit more detail. So I'm just going to play this short video for you now.
Every day, billions of people come here with questions about all kinds of things. Sometimes we even get questions about Google search itself, like how this whole thing actually works. And while this is a subject entire books have been written about, there's a good chance you're in the market for something a little more concise. So let's say it's getting close to dinner and you want a recipe for lasagna. You've probably seen this before, but let's go a little deeper. Since the beginning, back when the homepage looked like this, Google has been continuously mapping the web, hundreds of billions of pages, to create something called an index. Think of it as the giant library we look through whenever you do a search for lasagna or anything else. Now, the word lasagna shows up a lot on the web. Pages about the history of lasagna, articles by scientists whose last name happened to be lasagna, stuff other people might be looking for. But if you're hungry, randomly clicking through millions of links is no fun. This is where Google's ranking algorithms come into play. First, they try to understand what you're looking for, so they can be helpful even if you don't know exactly the right words to use or if your spelling is a little off. Then they sift through millions of possible matches in the index and automatically assemble a page that tries to put the most relevant information up top for you to choose from. Okay, now we have some results. But how did the algorithms actually decide what made it onto the first page? There are hundreds of factors that go into ranking search results, so let's talk about a few of them. You may already know that pages containing the words you search for are more likely to end up at the top. No surprise there. But the location of those words, like in the page's title or in an image's caption, those are factors too. There's a lot more to ranking than just words. Back when Google got started, we looked at how pages link to each other to better understand what pages were about and how important and trustworthy they seemed. Today, linking is still an important factor. Another factor is location, where a search happens. Because if you happen to be in Ormea, Italy, you might be looking for information about their annual lasagna festival. But if you're in Omaha, Nebraska, you probably aren't. When a web page was uploaded is an important factor too. Pages published more recently often have more accurate information, especially in the case of a rapidly developing news story. Of course, not every site on the web is trying to be helpful. Just like with robocalls on your phone or spam in your email, there are a lot of sites that only exist to scam, and every day scammers upload millions more of them. So just because instantvirusdownload.net lists the words lasagna recipe 400 times, that doesn't mean it's going to help you make dinner. We spend a lot of time trying to stay one step ahead of tricks like these, making sure our algorithms can recognize scam sites and flag them before they make it to your search results page. So let's review. Billions of times a day, whenever someone searches for lasagna, or resume writing tips, or how to swaddle a baby, or anything else, Google software locates all the potentially relevant results on the web, removes all the spam, and ranks them based on hundreds of factors like keywords, links, location, and freshness. Okay, good time to take a breath. This last part is about how we make changes to search, and it's important. Since 1998, when Google went online, people seem to have found our results pretty helpful. But the web is always changing, and people are always searching for new things. In fact, 1 in every 7 searches is for something that's never been typed into the search box before, by anyone, ever. So we're always working on updates to search. thousands every year. Which brings up a big question. How do we decide whether a change is making search more helpful? Well, one of the ways we evaluate potential updates to search is by asking people like you. Every day, thousands of search quality raters look at samples of search results side by side, then give feedback about the relevance and reliability of the information. To make sure those evaluations are consistent, the raters follow a list of search quality evaluator guidelines. Think of them as our publicly available guide to what makes a good result good. Oh, and one last thing to remember. We use responses from raters to evaluate changes, but they don't directly impact how search results are ranked. So there you have it. Every time you click search, our algorithms are analyzing the meaning of the words in your search, matching them to the content on the web, understanding what content is most likely to be helpful and reliable, and then automatically putting it all together in a neatly organized page designed to get you the info you need. All in, 0.81 seconds? Wow. Anyone else ready for dinner? Interested in learning more? We've got a whole website dedicated to how.
Okay, so I hope that you found that video useful. Now I know it's quite a lot to take in to absorb in kind of under 5 minutes more than anything else. But what I'd say with that is Emma has actually put in a link to that video so you can rewatch it at any point. But I think kind of the key point that hopefully you kind of understood from that is that there's lots of different, there's hundreds, as they mentioned, there's hundreds of different kind of factors that go into play when it comes to kind of algorithms in determining how high up a web page ranks on Google. So that's something to bear in mind. But a couple of key things to kind of take away from that video is the fact that when your website is listed on Google, you want to make sure that it's relevant to the people that are searching for your types of products or services as a business, and that your website is credible more than anything. It's got some level of kind of authority to it as well. And I'm sure the other thing that you picked up from that video was that you might be in the mood for lasagna. I know we were thinking about pizza earlier, now we're in the mood for lasagna. So it's probably kind of, I think we're talking along the Italian food theme lines this evening as well. So feel free to kind of rewatch that video back when you do get a moment as well. So you might have a question in mind thinking that, well, are customers actually searching for my products or services online? Now, this is an important question to ask yourself, because if you're not there when people are searching for your product or service, then for you, it's a missed opportunity. So if you think about you needing to go down to the supermarket to pick up a loaf of bread, you ran out of bread at home and you think, right, I need to pop down to my local supermarket, pick up a loaf of bread. You walk down, you get to the bread aisle, you turn into the bread aisle and you see all of the shelves are empty. Now, for the bread, kind of the manufacturers and the supermarket themselves, that's a missed opportunity to sell a loaf of bread to you. And just by that same vein, by not being visible when people are searching for your products or services that you provide as a business, then for you, it's a missed opportunity. So we want to kind of address that question and find out the answer. Now, we can do this by using a tool called Google Trends. Now, this is a tool which is available at no charge for you. So you can have a play around with this, see how you get along. So essentially, you can kind of type in a search term that maybe relates to your product or service, and you can maybe set up kind of how long you want to kind of see the information and data for, and you can set the location to island. If you're just kind of if your business is just island specific as well, unless you are maybe kind of more global, then you can kind of set it to everywhere, and then you can kind of have a look at various graphs kind of showing you the interest over the period of time as to how many people are searching into the search query box on Google as well. So definitely have a look at that tool. You can even have a little bit of fun because it's coming up to the festive period, just to kind of have a look at if you type in something like Christmas tree or Christmas decorations and set it as island and set it over the past 5 years, you'll notice that around about September, October time, that's when you see this a sudden spike in the graph. of interest and the amount of people typing in those search terms, because it's getting towards the festive period every single year. Now, the one thing I did notice actually with this year, and it's not just in Ireland, it's in other countries that I noticed, is that people's interest in searching for things such as Christmas trees, Christmas decorations on Google has actually started a lot earlier. It's starting in like roughly about, on average, about August time rather than September. So I think people are kind of geared up more for the festive period this year as well. So feel free to have a look at that. It will help you to answer that question whether your customers are searching for your products or services as well. Okay, so let's have a look at any questions. No questions at this stage, but it's great to see kind of all of you kind of interacting and kind of sharing your thoughts with kind of those decision factors that we discussed earlier on. But if there are any questions, feel free to pop them into the live chat as we go along. So now that we've looked at how our customers find us, we now want to look at where do we actually build our presence on Google Maps? Where do we kind of lay our flag in the sand, essentially, more than anything? So I want to kind of introduce you to this screenshot here, which is known as a search engine results page. Now, for those of you who have typed something in onto Google search before and hit that enter key, then you would more than likely have been kind of shown a page such as this, such as a search engine results page as it's known. And it's made up of 4 essential elements. So you've got the search query box. So this is the white box where you type in what you're looking for. Somebody's looking for Stacey's Bakery, which is quite specific itself. Below that, you've got kind of some photos, and these are what are known as shopping ads. So you've got photos which are in kind of a carousel order. So if you click the arrow button on the right hand side, you'll see a lot more kind of bakeries and their images of their cakes, etc. on there as well. So these are known as shopping ads, and then below that you've got text-based ads. And it might be a little bit difficult to see on your screen, but you can actually see for the text-based ads below the kind of the heading of the advert, it's got the word ad in a green bubble. So you know that that's a paid for search advert. And then you've also got a business listing, which is on the right hand side over here. Which shows a little bit more information about this particular business of Stacey's Bakery. And then below that, you've got an area which is known as the organic search result. Now, essentially, the 3 areas looking at that search engine results page, 3 areas that you can be found on Google is through organic search, business listing, and through paid search. And we'll kind of explore each one of these briefly in turn. So organic search in itself is essentially you being, by virtue of having a business website, you can be found on Google. Now, you may be on page 5, you may be on page 1, who knows? But in order to kind of get from kind of page 5 to page 1 gradually, for example, you want to go through a process which is known as search engine optimization, or SEO for short. Now, search engine optimization is the practice of increasing the quantity and quality of traffic to your website through search engine results. Now, what that essentially boils down to means is you want to make improvements, quality improvements to your website to improve the amount of people and the amount of quality people who are visiting your website and who may hopefully buy from you. So you want to attract more and more of those prospective customers and or clients from your end as well. So it's important to kind of understand that this is a process. This takes a little bit of time, and it's something which as a business owner, there's businesses that have been operating online for kind of at least 10-15 years, and they are still going through this process because this is something which you sort of keep up with constantly. So you've always got this in the background. You can also run adverts here and there, which we'll discuss shortly, but this is something which is a constant which goes on in the background. So in order to kind of optimize your website for success, you want to run what is known as keyword research. Now, a keyword is kind of a word or phrase that is typed into the search box. Or words or phrases, plural as well. So it could be the word pizza, that is a keyword, or it could be best pizza in Dublin 2020. That is a keyword, even though it's so long as well. So you want to actually research to find out what people are searching for on Google. Now, the way you can do that is you can use a tool which is again available to you at no charge, which is called the Google Ads Keyword Planner. Now, this is available through the Google Ads platform, where you'll actually create Google Ads. But you can actually use the Google Ads Keyword Planner without running any adverts. So you can just use that tool as a standalone to actually find out what kind of keywords people are searching for, because then you can match what people are searching for with what the content is on your website. Now, you don't want to get to a stage where every other word in a sentence or a paragraph on your website has that keyword or keywords in there, because it doesn't make sense. And Google kind of cottons onto that very quickly, more than anything else. So this is a gradual process where you want to be publishing high quality content, which is also useful because you want to incentivize people to click onto your link once they see your website listing appear as well. And you want to make sure that your web pages and your website in general is easily understood by Google. So you can do this by making sure that your web pages are search friendly. So you can be pretty much you can write your titles for your web pages, which explains directly what this web page is about, rather than kind of using any kind of fancy words and flowery words, which might kind of give a vague description about what is happening on this web page. So you want to be a bit more kind of direct about what you are actually discussing on this web page as well. So kind of delving into kind of keywords a little bit more, you also want to kind of understand what your user's intent is. So you want to understand what is my customer looking for specifically. Now, years ago, you could easily just type in onto Google something like trainers or trail running shoes, and you'd probably get hundreds and thousands of different web page search results. Now, the way that our search behaviors change, the way that we type things into that search box, has actually changed over the years. So we're actually becoming a little bit more kind of humanistic, I guess. We're kind of treating the likes of Google and search engines alike like humans, and typing in things such as best trail running shoes for winter or best running trainers for flat feet, typing those kind of things as well. I actually remember typing in something similar. So a few years ago, I did an obstacle course called Tough Mudder, which was one of the worst and difficult things I did in my life, just about made it through. But when I was looking for a pair of shoes to wear for that obstacle course, I literally typed in best shoes for Tough Mudder events, and I got lots of relevant listings. And that really helped me. Even typing in things such as pizza near me, usually we would be typing in pizza in Dublin or pizza in a specific location. Now we can just type in near me, which is a little bit more kind of the way we would kind of speak, I guess, more than anything else as well. So it's important to kind of understand what our customer or potential customer is looking for when they're browsing and searching online as well. Now, there's another Google tool that you can use, which is available at no charge to you, and it's a tool called Google Search Console. Now, this will help to kind of supplement your journey and to aim to kind of aid your journey and your progress to kind of rise through the ranks essentially on Google by following various practices and processes. So what Google Search allows you to do, it allows you to see your average position on Google. So if you're making improvements to your web page titles, then you can see, am I moving up in my average position? You can also see what keywords are bringing up your specific web page, and then you can make adjustments off the back of that as well. So Google Search Console is a really powerful tool. Now, you can actually learn a little bit more about Google Search Console, a little bit more kind of advanced if you wish to do so, using there's a YouTube channel called Google Search Central. Now, if you jump on there and you type within that YouTube channel for Google Search Console, you'll see like a playlist that's available of about 16 or 17 videos where there's a guy that kind of goes through different processes of how to use Google Search Console. Some of them might be a little bit irrelevant that you don't need to use, but then some of them might be of use to you as well. But it's a great tool to kind of let you kind of track your measurements and see how well you're performing. And it kind of gives you a little bit of confidence boost. Oh, okay, my average position's gone up. That's good to know. And you can kind of scale up from there as well and improve your efforts as well. So you can also be found locally through the process of local search engine optimization. So this is all about kind of increasing your visibility for businesses, for communities that you actually serve as well from kind of a face-to-face perspective. So The way you can do this is by setting up a Google My Business listing. Now, this is what Google My Business looks on like mobile, and it's important to understand how it looks on mobile, because this is what over 80% of us are searching on when we're looking for local businesses. So this is how it looks on mobile, and this is how it looks on Google Maps. So once you've created a Google My Business listing, it will appear both in Google Search and in Google Maps as well. So people can click on the directions button to get directions to your premises if you do have one as well. So in order to create a Google My Business listing, and feel free to kind of jot this down, you can either create this by downloading the Google My Business app, or you can sign into business.google.com. You then want to add your business name in there. You want to enter information about your business, including kind of which industry that your business belongs to, which is an important step to do. And so if you're a nail salon, for example, you want to make sure that your business category, business industry, is as close to nail salon as possible. If you find a category in the drop-down section which says nail salon, click on that, because what that allows you to do is later on you can actually see how well your business is performing compared to other nail salons in the area as well. And then kind of the final step of creating a Google My Business listing is to verify your listing as well. So the main kind of reason for Google My Business is to kind of increase your visibility on Google, which you can do because Google My Business is available at no charge again for you, and you can actually add a virtual tour. This is a great thing that you can add, as well as kind of adding business information, photos. You can add a virtual tour. So if you download the Google Street View app, you can actually take photos which kind of stitch together and form kind of like a 360-degree photo. So if it's relevant, if you maybe run a restaurant, you can kind of take a photo of inside your restaurant, which is kind of 360, so people can see maybe what the vibe inside is like as well. And they can see, oh yeah, so they've got wheelchair accessibility, or this is where, I don't know, this is where the entrance is, where the door is as well. So it can provide a little bit more context and information there as well. So then kind of the final place in which we can be found, after being found through improving our website, through organic search engine results, through having a business listing, final way is by paying for advertisement. So this is a process known as search engine marketing, which is essentially kind of paying your way to the top of those kind of search engine results pages as well. So where can these search ads appear? They'll usually appear along the top of the page. Now, what Google does is, if there's nothing kind of relevant, if there's nothing kind of relevant in terms of if there's no relevant ads to show for something that you are searching for, then there will be no adverts that will appear. But chances are, if somebody's searching for your products or services, then either other businesses and or you, if you are deciding to kind of run any adverts, you can actually have that advert appear along with your free website listing, which will appear wherever that is in kind of the search rankings as well. So it'll appear as kind of text-based ads, but they can also appear as shopping ads, as we saw earlier on as well. So to set up a search ad, you would create a campaign through Google Ads platform, which, as I mentioned, is the same platform which you would go into to access the Google Ads Keyword Planner, because you can use this both for the search engine optimization phase, but also for picking out the right keywords for actually from a search advertising point of view, you would choose keywords that you want to be found for. If somebody types something in, your advert will appear. But what you do is you kind of go into an auction, so you bid on a particular keyword, and if you're the highest bidder, then your advert will be shown for when somebody searches for that particular keyword as well. And then finally, you want to write an advert which kind of grabs somebody's attention and will make them click onto your advert to learn more about you and hopefully buy from you at the end of the day as well. So let's see if there's any questions coming in from you all. Okay. So a question from Majda, how do you choose some relevant keywords? So I would say have a look at the Google Ads Keyword Planner. That will give you a great starting place. Just kind of jot down kind of some keywords that you're thinking of, which relate to your particular product or service for your business, and then it will give you an idea what people are actually typing in onto Google. You can also use this in combination with the likes of Google Trends, which we talked about earlier on as well. So that's what I'd say with that, Majda. And then another question from Favor has asked, is it better to choose popular keywords so that you come up more likely in people's search, or more unlikely keywords that the keyword doesn't have so many people using it? It depends, because the one key thing when it comes to paid advertising is budget. So when you're bidding on a keyword, if it's popular ones, chances are that the price of it might be a little bit higher. Whereas if it's a little bit more niche and less popular, as you mentioned, then that's where maybe you're paying a lot less, but then you might not have as many people kind of viewing and searching for those particular terms. So it's kind of weighing up the options is what I'd say, Favor, in combination with kind of the budget that you set for your advertising. Fantastic. Thank you for those questions. If there's any more, feel free to pop them into the live chat. So let's have a look at ways in which we can boost our presence on Google. So one of the ways that you can do that is make sure that your website is up to speed, and make sure that your website is mobile friendly more than anything else. Because as I mentioned, the vast majority of us are searching for businesses on our smartphones because it's on us practically 24/7. I know some people even go to bed with their smartphone. I used to do that, but then I used to get too many kind of messages and kind of disrupts your sleep. So I kind of put that at the other end of my room now and just leave it on its charger as well. But as well as kind of making sure that your website is search friendly, you also want to make sure that it's quick. Now you can actually test the speed of your website by visiting the link which is on screen here, which is at g.co/test my site, which will let you know how quick your website is running on the likes of kind of 4G, 3G, those kind of things. And it will give you kind of an estimate as to how many visitors could be lost by having a slow loading time as well. And then if you add in your email address into that website, it'll actually email you a free report, which you can then kind of dissect in a little bit more detail if you've created the website to maybe make some amendments to speed up your website on your end, or if you've maybe got a web developer that's created your website for you. Easiest thing to do, just click the word forward when you get that email through, and just drop your web developer a message saying, hi there, can you please look into all this and make my website a bit quicker, please? And then that should hopefully quicken up your website. I remember doing this a few years ago myself, when I kind of taught myself how to create websites as well. Before that, I kind of used a website builder, which for some reason kind of slowed my website down. I think it was just me, because other people I knew had websites that were running fine as well. So feel free to kind of check out this fantastic tool as well. So when it comes to your business listing, you want to make sure that your details are up to date and accurate. You want to add and change photos. People are drawn to photos more than anything else, because you think about kind of Instagram, how popular that's become over the years. We're all drawn to images and photos alike as well. You want to respond to reviews, whether they're good or bad as well, because if reviews are bad, then it's important to respond to them, because you can kind of set your own narrative to it. So if somebody didn't have a great experience, then you can still be polite and courteous and professional, and maybe look to resolve things on your end, because you never know who on the other end, who's one day going to be searching for your business. They have a look at the reviews, they see this review that's not so great, and then if there's no response, they might think, well, does this business even care about people who don't particularly enjoy the service that other people have got? Whereas if you're polite, professional, responding, and just saying, how can we maybe make this better? At least you're showing that you as a business are taking the initiative from your end as well. And this is a key thing to do, is you can also kind of add managers. It's important to kind of add managers, especially if you're a growing business, for example. It's important to kind of do that and kind of like add managers. So if, for example, a member of staff leaves, you can actually make sure that other people have access to your Google My Business listing and can make adjustments as well. So for those of you who don't have a website yet, a business website, you can actually create one for free through the Google My Business platform. So once you've set it up, if you have a look on the left hand side, one of the options is website. So you can create a new website hosted by Google at no charge. And this is great because you can create a website which will usually have kind of the website address of your company name .business.site, and then you can kind of purchase domain names after that as well. So it's a great way to kind of get you started if you have no kind of website presence as yet as well. Now, in terms of kind of making improvements to your listing, you can actually make sure that your opening hours are updated. If you think about the current COVID-19 situation that we're in, it's important to kind of let people know if you're maybe running reduced hours. So add your opening hours in and kind of keep them going as much as possible. You want to kind of add photos to attract visitors. As I mentioned before, we're all kind of visual people nowadays. So it could be interior photos, exterior photos, but again, it's going to depend on your particular business. It could just be photos of your products as well. And as I mentioned before, you want to reply to reviews because that builds a level of trust between you and people who have never met you, who have never bought from you, but who might well buy from you in the future as well. And as we mentioned at the beginning of this session, we're all drawn into reviews, we're all drawn into those star ratings as well. So it's important to have them have kind of a good presence on them and be responding and prompt to reviews. And as I mentioned before, it's always easier to respond to the 5-star happy reviews than it is to kind of the reviews which are less so as well. So, but it's always important to have that dialogue going between all types of your customers. Now, speaking of opening hours, as I discussed earlier on, it's important to confirm these business hours that we've got going on, because over 50% of us, when we're looking for local information, especially on business listings, we're looking specifically for business hours. I remember I used to do this quite a lot last year when I was kind of traveling a lot, and I was probably coming back on a Sunday evening and I had to pick up something for home, such as a loaf of bread, as we discussed earlier on. And I'd look at kind of what time does my local supermarket close on a Sunday? And I'd look at the business listing, I'd look at it on Google Maps and it'd say, oh yeah, this supermarket is closing in 15 minutes. So I thought, right, I better get there. I'm only around the corner so I can nip in and grab what I need as well. So it's important to have that there. You can also now add more hours as well to your opening hours that you currently have. So you can actually set specific hours for specific services that you have. So if you're a restaurant out there, but due to kind of current climate, you're not able to have people in and to serve as a restaurant, then you might still offer services such as delivery or pickup as well. So takeout as well. So in order for that, you can actually set specific hours for that. So certain times of the day and week you offer delivery, certain times of the day and week you offer takeout as well. So you can get really specific. Now, in order to activate that, you do need to have a set of core opening hours set up first and foremost as well. Now, if you're a business out there and you have a business listing which has already been set up and everything, then you might have already marked your business as temporarily closed due to the current climate. Now, in order to reopen that back up again, you can do that by jumping onto your Google My Business dashboard. So this is the main kind of screen that you see once you've logged into Google My Business. Click on the left hand side, which is basically your menu bar. Click on the word info, and then you just click on the button that says mark as open. And it's as easy as that. So it's important to kind of understand that, because some businesses might need to have special kind of health and safety equipment installed within their premises before they're able to reopen as well. So it's as simple as kind of flicking a switch on and off in regards to your business listing there. So another great feature of Google My Business, which will help you to kind of optimize your presence on Google, is that you can create posts. Now, some of you may already be putting posts out onto kind of your Instagram grid, or be posting onto your Facebook business pages. That's great. Well, you can actually translate that and pop that onto your Google My Business listing as well, because that shows to people, again, that you're an active business. You're letting people know. Maybe you're letting people know what the current situation is with yourselves in relation to in relation to the COVID-19 situation as well. And you can also kind of let people know if you kind of got special promotions, grand reopenings as well that you might have. And you can now also add in kind of support links as well. So you can allow your customers to buy gift cards from you to maybe use at a later date when maybe you're open as a restaurant, for example. And they can actually even donate to you directly through means of PayPal or GoFundMe. So for example, if you are a business that had to close and then you're looking to maybe open in a new premises and you're looking for funding for inventory or something like that, then you can let your customers, the people who are kind of loyal to you and prospective customers as well, let them know that you are looking to fundraise for this. They can support you if they wish to do so as well. So they can do that directly from your Google My Business listing as well. So another great feature that's available, which is new to Google My Business listing, is that you're able to add important details through the form of attributes. So you might have seen on certain business listings when you're kind of browsing around on the internet that certain business listings say they've got kind of like a tick for a particular business. So I've had this for kind of like Wagamama is one of my favorite places to eat. They say they're available for takeout and for delivery. They've got like a tick button, which is in the confines of their business listing. So I know that they provide those services, but when it comes to dine in, they've got a cross there. So I know that they are closed for dining in, obviously, as well. So you can add all of that information in. So you can actually add in other types of attributes, such as payments that are accepted, such as debit cards or credit cards that you accept, or mobile payments that you accept as well. And another new feature that's available through attributes is that you can add in health and safety attributes. So maybe you can add things in to say that if people are visiting you, then the wearing of masks is mandatory for all customers and staff, just to let people know and put that information out there as well. And you can kind of put that information out there, such as temperature checks are required. So all of that information, what that all does is it lets people know, lets your customers know, or prospective customers know, all about your business and what's kind of what to expect and what to do before they actually get to your front door, essentially. And people like to know, they like to be in the know rather than kind of being left in the dark. So it's important to kind of let all that information out to them because once again, it kind of builds credibility and trust by providing all this information out there, updating it regularly as well. But also you're showing concern for their welfare as well as yours as well as a business. So feel free to kind of add these kind of attributes within the confines of your own business listing. And kind of another thing to bear in mind when it comes to your business listing is look at kind of the information that's coming through. So you can have a look at the insights section of your Google My Business listing. So you can actually have a look at information such as whether people are coming through you directly, or such as typing in Stacey's Bakery, or are they typing in bakeries in Dublin, for example, and then they're clicking on Stacey's Bakery as well. So you can actually see what's kind of the split between the two. So if people are not typing in your business address straight away, then what that means is that that you might need to make improvements to your website, and vice versa. You might want to make improvements to your business listing. If people are not clicking onto your business, you might want to get some more reviews and generate some more reviews from your happy customers as well. So and this is important to understand that it's all good and well looking at all this information data, but you've got to take action off the back of it and make adjustments and improvements as well. Okie dokes. So let's see if there's any questions from you all. I can't see no questions. So let's have a look at your next steps here. So you can continue your learning journey by actually making sure that you book onto the second webinar that we have of this series, which is delivered in partnership with Irish Black Owned. And if you have a look at the video description box, you will see that there's a link to that specific webinar session next Monday at 5 p.m. So you can book yourself onto that. Also have a look at the link which is on screen here, which is at g.co/digital garage webinars-ie. So you can book yourself onto further Google Digital Garage webinars and other topics as well. Just a reminder, the topic for next week's webinar session is going to be on how to set up an online shop. as well. So you can also have a look at the online courses, as I mentioned earlier on. Remember the Fundamentals of Digital Marketing course, which is available to you at no charge, and you'll receive a certificate once you've completed that course, which is available at no charge to you as well. So if you enjoyed this session, which I hope that you did, both myself and Emma would appreciate a little bit of feedback to let us know what you enjoyed. There's a feedback form which is linked into the video description box below as well, so you can let us know what you thought of the session. So apart from that, I want to say a massive thank you to you all for tuning in and joining me this evening for this session. Hope that you found it useful. I want to say a massive thank you to Emma, who I'm sure will agree has been a wonderful chat moderator, so feel free to show your appreciation down below. I also want to say a massive thank you to our webinar partner, Irish Black Owned, and I want to wish you an enjoyable rest of the evening, and hopefully I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you. Goodbye.